Since we now know that trees make our city lives easier, a lot of effort has been made to understand our urban forests. Urban forests are different from rural forests because they are lower density and have fewer layers. Despite this, they offer more ecosystem services to people than rural forests due to their proximity to human life. Even though urban trees are important, they can be seen as more of a cost than a benefit. In development, trees are often viewed as a nuisance. This especially goes for larger trees with large critical root zones. Similarly, old and larger trees are often hazardous in some aspect. Trees develop cavities and flaws while they age, and that can create a significant danger in urban conditions. They can threaten homes, people, cars, or even right-of-ways. And while we remove trees often, they do not come back on their own often. Humans discourage regeneration through lawn care, leaf removal, since seeds are removed too, weeding, and compaction of the soil. That means we have a lot fewer young trees in cities than in rural areas. A lack of young trees means nothing will replace the old ones when they die. Nothing except people. And thankfully, people plant trees. But that means regeneration is curated, outsourced, and non-adaptive. Naturally, the offspring of trees living in an area would grow in the area, meaning they would likely be adapted to the specific conditions. Instead, now we bring in plants from elsewhere that often struggle in their new environment. It's for that reason tree folks and the city of Austin recommend planting a Texas native when planting your next tree. Texas natives are much better adapted to the tough conditions Texas tends to throw at your tree. Many of the nurseries Tree Folks sources their trees from actually use seeds collected in and around Austin to ensure their stock is suited to the unique conditions found in Central Texas. In fact, some of those seeds come from Tree Folks-led seed collection expeditions to find seeds from rarer, desirable species that once had larger ranges. But it can take years for a seed to grow into a tree that is providing the ecosystem services needed by the people around it. Young trees are often too small to cast shade or too young to provide edible products. Many of the benefits one assumes they will get from a tree are really only benefits seen from mature trees. The loss of larger urban trees and the ecosystem services they provide is what has led to a recent uptick in urban tree preservation. It is now recognized that young trees provide less services than old trees. So it has been codified into ordinance in most places that large trees must be protected. Large trees are also more of a risk due to their capacity to be dangerous, and their capacity to get in the way of the bulldozers of unscrupulous developers. Luckily, some groups has taken to transplanting large trees instead of removing them when they are in the way of development. Our admiration of large trees has led to the arborist industry and municipal urban forestry teams, in which trained professionals care for larger trees. This prevents a lot of tree loss from failures as flaws can be mitigated early. Unfortunately, this prevents a lot of standing dead wood, which, while inherently dangerous, is also an important habitat for many charismatic wildlife like raccoons and bluebirds. Honestly, the impressive tree ordinance in place in Austin that protect our urban forest are due in part to the hard work of one woman, Margaret Hoffman. Margaret Hoffman's love for our impressive trees has led to 2 protected size classes in Austin, protected trees and heritage trees. Protected trees are anything over 19 inches, and heritage trees are a certain subset of native species over 24 inches. In cases of trimming, work near the roots, or removal, applications must be submitted that are reviewed by arborists to make sure the tree will be hurt as little as possible, or there is no option other than removal. Even with all these protections, Austin is still losing trees as development and drought continue to threaten our forests. We have about 30% canopy coverage now, but our canopy is aging, and there are no replacements growing under them. The city of Austin does what they can to protect the urban forest, and the urban forestry program is very active within the Development Services Department. They are responsible for the tree ordinances and code enforcement. But the city can only do so much, so here at Tree Folks, we support their efforts and work with them to meet the needs of Austin area residents. Tree Folks is Central Texas's only nonprofit dedicated to the planting and care of trees. Through support from the City of Austin and foundations and organizations across the country, TreeFolks has fought for our urban forest since 1989, when a group of friends around a campfire decided to start handing out free trees. But best of all, Austinites are almost uniformly fans of trees. TreeFolks sees impressive levels of volunteerism, so much so that we have to turn people away often. We are also able to adopt out thousands of trees annually and plant tens of thousands in reforestation work. So hopefully, through our efforts and the goodwill of Austin area residents, we can actually turn the tide on deforestation. If we can increase our urban canopy, we will be able to provide ecosystem benefits like lowering the ambient temperature of Austin by 10 degrees. That's actually accomplishable. All we need to do is increase the urban canopy coverage by 10%. Then we hit the threshold where temperature reductions begin. So let's make Austin better for everyone and plant some trees. If you'd like to learn more about our urban forest and the trees you can find in and around Austin, you should stay tuned for more from EcoRise and TreeFolks as we partner to bring content to the Austinites affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Given the stay-at-home order and the recent closure of city and state parks, we encourage all Central Texans to stay safe, stay home when possible, and follow the physical distancing guidelines put out. In this time of isolation, we encourage people to reach out to us through email and social media. This video is the first in our 4-part series exploring Austin's urban forest. Each video will be coupled with educational activities that can be done at home. In the next 3 parts, we will delve into the individual attributes of our 3 most common trees. We will explore their identifying characters, their specific adaptations to life in Central Texas, and how they've interacted with humans over the last 250 years. Then families can independently follow our activity plans to enhance their understanding of these impressive trees. Up next, we will explore the trees colloquially called cedars here in Central Texas. After that, we will explore the wonderful world of elms. And finally, we'll examine the live oaks that keep our cities green year-round. Through these 4 videos, we'll be able to teach you why and how our trees keep our city fun and functioning.